is the name of a Spanish rock band who I believe are named after a district of Seville. They were formed in 1974 by three guys called Telly, Jesus and Eduardo, probably badly pronounced there. And they existed in that form until 1983 when Jesus died in a car accident. In 1985, the other two briefly reconvened without Jesus, using some pre-recorded singing that he'd done to create a third and, at that point, presumed to be final album for the band. However, in 1994, Tele formed Triana again with a different band. So this involved Juan Emilio, Andres, Paul and Santi. And this existed until 2002 when Telly died, and so the band stopped. However, once again, there was a resurrection in 2007, which is the remaining second wave members, so who'd formed with Telly in 1994, reformed with a new drummer called Marcos. Telly was the drummer. Which was somewhat controversial because at this point there were none of the three original members involved. Eduardo, who was the only remaining alive original member, was not involved or impressed by them reforming. Over those three particular stints, which was all of the stints, they produced 10 studio albums so far. Hi, my name's Dan. So this review is a request review requested by one of my fairly frequent commenters, somebody called, goes under the name of Jota, but possibly Jota or Yota, I'm not quite sure which, sorry. I'm guessing from context it might be Jota, it might be that is a kind of Spanish word. But anyway, just to say that normally on this channel, my reviews are, I'm reviewing through a list of the 3,000 greatest albums of all time, according to Acclaimed Music. I'm started at the bottom and I'm working my way upwards. I'm at this point just over 400 through. But occasionally I get distracted, and one of my occasional distractions is request reviews. If you want to request me to do a review of any album that isn't on the list, then the easy way to do that is to put a comment on any of the videos on my channel, and hopefully I'll see it and I'll stick it in my list, unless I decide I don't want to. I've got a kind of slow drip through of these request reviews and a few other distractions. Right, so let's get into it. I would describe this as being a cross between flamenco and progressive rock, and I think that's, I hope that's a reasonable description. It's kind of, it is rock, but it's kind of definitely got a progressive feel to it in some sense. It's not full on as progressive as some stuff was around that time, and it doesn't really sound like, for example, Yes or Genesis, but it does sound quite similar to me to some of the parts of In the Court of the Crimson King, the classic album by King Crimson, especially the last track on that album, which is drenched in mellotron, and it's kind of slow, almost kind of folky feel for the rest of it. And this, a lot of that has that kind of feel. There's a lot of mellotron at times, or there's organ being used at other places. And then along with this is guitars, and the kind of big presence here is flamenco guitar, which is done on what I sometimes call a Spanish guitar, sometimes a nylon string guitar, sometimes a classical guitar. These terms seem to be interchangeable. But there's some other, I think, acoustic guitars, and certainly there's some electric guitar. There's keyboard playing in here as well, obviously drums and bass. The chord structures are pretty straightforward. The structures of the songs, they tend to be kind of long and evolving, and several stages. Some of these tracks are kind of up to, not quite up to 10 minutes long, but some of them are in that direction. There's some really nice playing going on. I enjoyed the the music. The voice is okay. It's quite high. It's fairly dramatic. He can sing okay. I don't understand what's being sung. Presumably it's in Spanish. So whatever the phrase is in no hablas español or whatever. I probably got that wrong even. So my Spanish is really poor. So I can't get anything from the words and the lyrics. So it's all based on the music. That's not a problem for me, but just to say there may be qualities here that I'm missing because I don't understand what's being sung. It's definitely my kind of thing. I'm into my prog. I like my kind of big, grandiose rock and stuff like this. I think if I have one criticism, it's probably that it felt a bit kind of samey throughout. It felt like they had, kind of similar ideas through several of the tracks. And I found it hard to kind of distinguish in my head between the different tracks. If I listened more times, I probably would get more distinction between them. So, yeah, I reasonably liked it. In fact, a decent amount. It's getting a 7+ score, which is what I reserve for things that I probably would go back and listen to again by choice. So that's what I think. And if you want to give me an opinion, and I hope I've done all right by you, Jota. If anyone wants to say anything in the comments box, please do so. Always up for commentary from people. That's it from me for now.